Hey, Armand here with your forecast for the week of August 30th, 2021. So I think we're going to start doing these on Mondays again as opposed to Sundays, just cause. Now, I know, of course, on the other hand, that it is Tuesday and not Monday. It's not even Monday morning anywhere unless you're in Alaska. So it's a little bit belated. We'll be okay with that. We'll be okay with that. We had the last quarter moon on Monday the 30th, and we are waning into the new moon, which will be on September 6th. So this is the last little phase of the lunar cycle. I always tell you about the phase of the lunar cycle because it is important. It really kind of describes our overall energy level. And I mention it and I give you the sort of the book value on it because that's what I can do. I give you some of my impressions of it because I figure maybe it'll help you. But you should think about what it feels like for you to get to a particular phase of the moon. This last week, of course, it's different every month. It goes through different signs and all, but there's different aspects, but it gives you a sense of what the end of the month is like, or the beginning of the month, the month in the sense of the moon cycle. So basically what we're doing this week is waning into the new moon, which is on Monday, September 6th. And it is a time of finishing things up, assessing, and just generally, the sun's in Virgo, so let's say a little bit of organizing. Now, the Virgo new moon each year is a time for looking at what we've done thus far this year and what needs to be done. All right, it's always, obviously September, Virgo season is always kind of that back to school, back to work, vacations are over kind of time, But that's the vibe of this time of year, and there's really sort of no avoiding it. It's the harvest time. If you're in an agrarian society, we're getting into the harvest time. So it's really a back to work. The wheat grows. All you need is the water of Cancer and the sun of Leo, but the wheat grows and has to be harvested in Virgo. Right? So we're looking at that kind of energy. It's a time to look at what still needs to be done, to assess what needs to be done. Generally speaking, it has that sort of, the days are getting shorter. If you're in the Northern Hemisphere, heaven forfend, we should be northocentric. If you're in the Northern Hemisphere, the days are getting shorter pretty noticeably now. That's the thing about Virgo, is that you have a very quick change in Virgo and Libra. The days get really short very quickly. So we're sort of withdrawing the energy in, and that's the sun's energy, and that really correlates in this case with this week because the lunar energy is also drawing inwards. I would say most of this week is spent in assessment. Think about what needs to be done, organize, prioritize. And then the new moon in Virgo, as I said, is always a time to think about what needs to be done for the year and get going on it. Here's the thing about this new moon on Monday. It is very, very closely trine to Uranus in Taurus, another earth sign. Well, if there's a feeling of routine that hangs around this Virgo new moon and getting back into things in September and all that, the trine to Uranus suggests that we can actually ease out of routines, that we can find new and creative ways to do things on a very practical level. These are earth signs, right? We're not just tossing around ideas. We're looking at ways to do things in a very practical sense. So yeah, there is that sense of going back to work, back to school, but there's also that sense of finding a new way to do it, of approaching whatever our projects are, whether it's your garden or your house or your business or even your relationships, a new way to go about things. We don't have to be stuck in the same ruts. You can't spell routine without R-U-T. So there is a hope that we can kind of, ease out of our regular patterns and into something new. As always, the new moon itself, brilliant ideas, wonderful insights, but more or less we'll be looking at, Tuesday the 7th at the earliest, at the dead earliest, at the living earliest, to actually start implementing any changes. So, let it all sort out on the 6th. This is the time to let it all sort out. This isn't the time for action. It's the time for understanding. Now, if it was all about the Virgo new moon and waning into it, we could stop right there. But there's some other exciting stuff happening this week. On the 2nd, which is Thursday, not the Thursday, it's Thursday this week, Mars is opposite to Neptune. Now, Mars-Neptune oppositions are challenging. Mars is energy. Mars wants to go do things, and Virgo wants to do something very particular, probably, but is certainly ready to get going. And then Neptune in Pisces, or anywhere, but Neptune in Pisces is like this magnifying glass that takes something and just expands it. So in that sense, Mars-Neptune can be like going off on a crusade. It can be like, it really is the crusade energy, that kind of, we're going to go fight for this thing that we really believe in. That's Mars-Neptune. With Mars in Virgo, we could take a very particular little thing and turn it into a big cause. That'll happen in the collective. Well, that always happens in the collective, but in our own lives too. This little thing that really maybe shouldn't matter all that much becomes this, huge thing that becomes, we got to go fight for what we want. We got to go fight for what we believe in. The other side of Mars-Neptune can be a dissipation of energy. So, maybe you get all riled up for the crusade, and then you're like, maybe staying home would be just as well. We're gonna go fight for truth and justice. It's a little chilly outside, and I think it's gonna rain later. Maybe we'll just, we'll wait till next time. Some of that kind of thing can happen. So you can get all riled up only to sort of fizzle. You can get in your race car ready to barrel down the track and then realize that you forgot to put any gas in it. That kind of thing. So Thursday, look for that sort of energy. At the time, when we get to midweek, Wednesday, Thursday, we are looking at the moon in Cancer, waning moon in Cancer. A lot of protectiveness. So that cause may have to do with, being safe, battening down the hatches kind of thing. If the remnants of the hurricane are coming, or if you're cleaning up from the hurricane that went through the US. But there's so many. I'm just citing something that sounds watery, but there's so many things that are going on, that there's that protective, let's be secure, let's work on our security by getting something done, by doing something. On the 3rd, on Friday, the moon goes into Leo. Well, you got to be happy to have a Friday night moon in Leo. That's a good thing. It's a waning moon in Leo, so it's not exactly full of energy or anything like that, but it's, it's an upbeat sign. Coming into the weekend, right before the new moon on Saturday, and it's exact on Sunday, but there are 3 aspects. The first of these, not chronologically, but in terms of our narrative, the first of these is that Mars will trine Pluto. Now, if Mars-Neptune was getting riled up and then fizzling out, Mars-Pluto is completely different. Mars-Pluto is the energy to go forward. The lunar energy is really, really low, but the Mars-Pluto energy is really, really strong. Hold on to that thought for a second, because it kind of correlates with the fact that Venus, this is on Sunday, Venus will be squaring Pluto. and then going on to trine Jupiter. Now, Venus Pluto can go a lot of different ways, and it could be, you know, again, the book value on this would be, oh, power struggles in relationship. It's a possibility. With Venus in Libra, there's this kind of like, this is what we're doing, and we're kind of following decorum and minding our manners. And then here comes Pluto and sort of broadsides it. It's kind of like you're trying to have like a nice dinner, a nice little set dinner with, you know, everybody should use the right forks and stuff like that. And then in comes Pluto, all dirty and messed up, and just wants to grab a beer and put his feet up on the couch or something like that. And it's sort of messing up the vibe a little bit. Now, that's just a story, and you can translate it into many, many different situations. But it's kind of like, I want things to be nice, but maybe they're not. And then Venus goes on to trine her best friend Jupiter, and Venus Jupiter trines are always nice, and they kind of, should really kind of help and make things a little easier, and perhaps, you know, perhaps make for a nice Sunday afternoon out or something like that. But here's the thing about those three aspects, the Mars, Pluto, and the Venus aspects, is that at the new moon, as we wane into the new moon, they really can indicate release. So these are, you know, think about trines, you often hear like the key word for a trine aspect is that it's constructive. Indeed, it can be. But a waning trine, and these are waning trines on a waning moon, can mean we let go of things. Whether it's in the area of relationship, it could be our social plans, it could be some work types of things. There could be a sense of divestment rather than investment, and a letting go that really, really, it harmonizes with, let's say, the sun, moon, and Uranus trine that I spoke about earlier. Yeah, so Saturn opposite by Mercury. I'm having trouble finding the words. Happens. All right, those are enough words for this week, though. It's a short week. It's a short week. It's only Tuesday to Monday. And I will see you next Monday.